Hi everyone, I've got here the brand new Band on the Run 50th anniversary half-speed remaster. I'm going to show you exactly what's in here. I'm going to talk about what it sounds like because I have played this. I've made some notes on each of the songs and how it compares to another version that I'll explain about in a moment. So this comes out on 2nd of February. I had an opportunity yesterday to get this early and I wasn't going to let the opportunity pass. Very unexpected. I've also got the 2LP version and the 2CD version coming. I'll be showing those as soon as I get them, hopefully on release day, we will see. And also don't forget I've got a live stream coming this Sunday night, 8 PM UK time. All things Band on the Run related. We can discuss this and do one of my World Cups. They're back. But anyway, Band on the Run half-speed remaster. So, continuing the series that we've had over the past few years on 50th anniversaries of McCartney, Ram, Wildlife, Red Rose Speedway. It's been a superb series. I've really enjoyed this. I think the sound quality has been superb on these. As always, this has this obi strip at the side that I'll show you up close in a moment. What we don't know yet is whether or not in the 2LP version this strip exists, which I know in the grand scheme of things isn't important, but if you're collecting the series, it kind of is. I suspect it's not going to be there in the 2LP version, but we don't know for sure until we actually get it in our hands. Just images that we've seen just don't show it at all. But anyway, this is that strip, so I'll get you a good close-up view of that. Help if I show it the right way around. Each one a different colour they've been so far. I wonder when they're going to run out of colours. I'm hoping that we will get one of these for Venus and Mars next year. I certainly hope so. One of the key things to note here is that this version of Band on the Run has Helen wheels included. The song that was recorded during the sessions, but Paul McCartney never intended to go on the album. It was only when American record executives said to Paul that, you've got to have the hit on the album, because it had been a hit in America already, that he was persuaded to do so in America. Most reissues lately haven't had Helen wheels on. I'm happy with the fact that it's its turn to have Helen wheels this time, even though I personally prefer the album without. I'll just show you the sticker that did come with the album, made in Germany. So, I'm going to be comparing this to the 2017 vinyl reissue, which I think is just about the nearest like-for-like comparison that can be done. That's this version here. And that's essentially is the same as the archive collection version. It was just basically more printed. When Paul was doing that vinyl reissue campaign, and hopefully he's going to get back on track with that, there's been some differences in this campaign with album covers being glossy when they weren't glossy or not glossy when they were glossy. These are the same. I don't know how much you can tell on camera, but I've looked at these up close. It's the same, okay? So, regular album cover, as you would normally expect. The back of the album is as normal. It is not a gatefold. It's got some different style of font to what was in the 2017 issue, certainly. So inside we have this sleeve, the familiar sleeve. If you've got a copy of Band on the Run on vinyl, you've probably got this sleeve already. It was quite a task getting the record out of this sleeve. So I've immediately put my record into a polyline sleeve that's going to be much easier to take it in and out of. There was a lot of static on it. But anyway, you've got all the lyrics to the songs there. Pictures of Paul, Linda and Denny in Lagos, Nigeria while they were recording the album. Also inside here, two more things. Three more things if you include the record. And we really should include the record. There's a poster. Again, it's a familiar poster. It's been included in previous issues of Band on the Run, but let's just get this opened up and you can see it's a big poster, but that's inside there, and it's got lots of close-up photos from the sessions for the album. So I'll just get you a look at many of those. Okay, so that's in there. I'm not sure how many times I have that poster in. Also, as we've had in all of the half-speed remaster series so far, there is this card that just sort of confirms some technicalities from Miles Scholl at Abbey Road Studios, who actually cut the Half Speed Remaster. Just some technical details confirming that that's what that is. So my understanding from this is that this has been cut from the same very high resolution digital copy that the archive collection was cut from. But this is a new half-speed remaster. As I said in my previous video the other day when I was talking about what is the underdubbed version, there's a link to that at the end if you haven't seen it. I've also done a video quite a long time ago about what is half-speed mastering. If you're still not sure what half-speed mastering is, again, I've done a video, it'll be at the end. You can have a look at that. That explains the process. And also, of course, in there is the record itself. As I say, I've put it into a polyline sleeve that wasn't provided with the album. But looking at it, it doesn't really look any different on there to previous versions that you may have seen. It's very familiar there, apart from something on the grooves that I'm going to come to when I talk about my review of the album. Something interesting that I noted. So yeah, obviously black vinyl. This is not a coloured vinyl reissue. So I've taken notes. Most importantly, how does it sound? Is this going to be worth getting compared to any other version of Band on the Run that you may have? I'm not interested in these if I don't think that they give me some kind of benefit. And this half-speed remaster series so far has proved to me that I feel it has a benefit in terms of sound quality. Band on the Run, the title track, I didn't notice too much difference there. That was pretty much like for like, I felt. No Words. I thought on this new half-speed master there was a slightly enhanced stereo separation. It was slightly better. That's been a big thing again with this half-speed remaster series, I think, has been the stereo separation and giving everything its own place in the soundstage. The half-speed process tends to facilitate that as a thing, enhanced stereo separation, and I found it was. I could just about notice it on No Words, but it wasn't mind-blowing. Mrs. Vanderbilt was an interesting one because, again, one of the things that I often find with half-speed remasters is an improvement in the bass, a smoothness of bass. Now, I thought that there was more bass on the previous issue, on the 2017. The bass seemed more pronounced on that than it is on the new version, but the acoustic guitar and the percussion on the new half-speed master sounded cleaner here. Very, very nice. And I don't mean clean in a bright way, but it just sort of sparkled and was very, very nice. But I was surprised that the bass was not quite as prominent. So here's the songs now where I thought there was the most noticeable difference between the new version and the 2017. I can't do a comparison on Hell on Wheels because it was not on the 2017 reissue, but here it sounds in line with the rest of the album. It sonically it fits, okay? So, songs with the most noticeable differences. Jet. I thought the intro on the new version was much punchier. I thought the mid-ranges were, they felt like they had a bit more to them. Paul's voice was more defined. Again, in that soundstage, Paul's voice seemed to have its own place much more. And it was quite interesting. It was like it was high up in the air. Paul's voice sounded like it was up there to me. So I sit over at that other end of the room. My speakers are here at the side, so I'm facing towards this end of the room, listening. And I thought Paul's voice was up here on its own. It was really nice. It was a nice effect. I liked that. Bluebird. Goodness me, the soundstage on Bluebird is superb on this new version. It really is. The lead vocals and the backing vocals. It was an interesting listen because, again, talking about that soundstage and the depth of the soundstage, Paul's vocals and the backing vocals sounded a lot further away. They sounded almost like they were sort of behind the wall, not muffled by a wall, very clear, but further back. But without being quiet. They weren't quieter, they just sounded like they were further back. And all the percussion that was coming from the speakers sounded very, very forward, but without being louder. So the overall volume mix was the same, it was great, but it felt like it was a much deeper soundstage. And Bluebird sounds great, it really does. Let Me Roll It, the bass on the intro. This is where I've talked about this smoothness of bass on these half-speed remasters. The bass on the intro sounds smooth and fantastic. Again, I switched back immediately and played Let Me Roll It on the 2017 reissue. And while the 2017 reissue is very nice, it's great, didn't quite excite me on the bass as much, I found something really interesting with the grooves. I'm going to show you some pictures here. The grooves, obviously Let Me Roll It is a song that goes from quiet to loud, quiet to loud. And you can see on the grooves almost that being mapped out on this new version. And I went back to the 2017 and had a look, and they just look like normal grooves. Mamounia. I mentioned the soundstage on Blackbird. This was a similar kind of thing. Didn't grab me as much as Bluebird did, but still sounded very nice, where the vocals were well back. They sounded further away, but not quieter. And the percussion and everything was much further forward, but not louder. It was very nice. Not as pronounced as on Blackbird, but still very nice. Picasso's Last Words, I think you maybe want to make your own mind up on this. It was much punchier vocals and percussion. The phrase I used here was it's got a bit more oomph to it. Now, I think the question is, on a song like Picasso's Last Words, do you want it to have more oomph? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I think that's one for you to decide there. I liked it very much, but I did notice that it felt like it had a bit more guts and attack to it than I noticed when I, again, immediately switched to the 2017 reissue. I wasn't leaving it sort of half an hour between listening to these. I was like, play that, all right, take that off, put that one on, listen to that straight away. I could definitely tell that difference. 1985, I've written here in capital letters, balls. It's got balls. And the separation between the piano and the percussion is very, very nice. Again, switched back to the 2017, wasn't quite as noticeable, but it's just got a lot of, balls to it. Balls to it. I really like 1985. So there's definitely a few songs where the differences are much more subtle, and there's a few where, if you do like a quick A/B test, you can certainly tell that this has got deeper soundstage to it. There's elements where the bass sounds much nicer. I would say of the half-speed reissues that we've had so far, compared to those behind me, this is one of the most subtle changes. For example, Ram, I still think was the most extreme change on the half-speed remaster. The McCartney album, I thought, by far and away is the best version I've heard. Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway were great, a little bit more subtle. This is probably a little bit more subtle still, but there's some great things in there if you can pick them out to really enjoy. So I think it's another superb addition to the half-speed remaster campaign. Plus as well, it keeps it on the shelves. Band on the Run, obviously a very important album. It needs to be kept alive on the shelves, and if they are running short of stocks of other reissues, then this gets it back out there. There's a lot of people buying vinyl for the first time. This will make it easier for them to buy it. So I think that's a really good thing. It does seem like the 2 LP version might be the better value box set, the one that contains the underdub mix. This cost me £31, which is expensive for a single album. It's about on par with what we've come to expect now for these McCartney releases. I know there's going to be people out there, as always, saying, oh, you're wasting your money, you've got this already. I think anybody is free to buy this for whatever reason they want, personally. It's not up to other people to say whether somebody's right or wrong for buying something. I'm going to enjoy this very much. It's worth it for me. But I think the 2 LP box might be better value for money, potentially. But certainly I'm looking forward to getting that. I will bring that to you. I'll show you that in detail with that underdubbed album, show you the CD version, and don't forget that live stream on Sunday night, 4th of February, 8 PM UK time.